Yes, let's start the lecture, and we will talk at the end of the lecture about our quiz. Okay, today we will talk about small businesses, new ventures, and franchises. So by talking about small businesses is an important thing, because generally in management courses, we focus on big companies, right? We give examples of big corporations like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Mercedes, Renault, these kind of big corporations. We are giving example of these. However, our economy is mostly run by these small businesses as well. These are very important for the economy, for our life, for our economic development of a country. These are all important. So today we will be talking about the characteristics of small businesses. We call them SMEs, okay? Small and medium enterprises. We call them like that. And in Turkish, we call them KOBİ. Maybe you heard about this before, KOBİ. Küçük ve orta büyüklükteki işletmeler. But in English, we call it SMEs, small and medium enterprises. So these are actually constituting a major part of the Turkish economy, accounting for a large proportion of the businesses in our country and the employment. So many of the people are making their lives out of these small and medium-sized enterprises, right? Some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them are operating their businesses. And these are very crucial for the development of a economy at all. There are corporations who are big corporations. Go very limited number of people, right? But if SMEs are more powerful, who have more share in the economy, the general wealth, general richness distributed to more equally. So this is very important in an economy, the power, the existence of many SMEs, okay? This is very important. What's an SME? We describe them according to some criteria, okay? And this actually defines three different levels of enterprises, three different levels of small micro enterprises whose employee number is less than 9 people, than 1 million Turkish liras for a year. So we call those kind of micro enterprises. Many of the SMEs actually are in this space. Like you can imagine your craftsmen. I mean, in Turkish we call them esnaf, right? You go somewhere, you buy some products into your streets, so into your neighborhood. These kind of people are actually employing less than 9 people, maybe 2 people, 3 people is operating a small cafe, a small restaurant, small market, right? So we call these kind of enterprises micro enterprises. Small enterprises, actually up to 50 people, we call them small. And the annual net sales revenue should be less than 8 million Turkish liras. And medium enterprises is up to 250 people. After 250 people, we don't categorize these firms as SMEs, but we categorize them under big corporations, big firms, okay? So this is the general classification of SMEs in Turkey. So, tradesmen, craftsmen, and SMEs. A craftsman means esnaf, tradesman means tüccar. These kind of people in Turkey actually make up 99% of all of the enterprises. So many of the enterprises are actually SMEs, right? Small enterprises. And they made the 38% of the all production, okay? They give the 81% of the all employment. So it's very important, right? I mean, can you think about this? If they don't exist, how many people will go to unemployed? And we see this problem in pandemic times when government have applied a lockdown policy to stop pandemic, many of the small enterprises needed to shut down themselves, right? And actually we faced a very bad situation, very hard situation for them, because they actually employ many people in Turkey. I mean, so many people are depending on the SMEs in Turkey. So these companies, these firms are very important. There is one question from Abbas. Teacher, what is the main factor, main sources of economic? So what is your question? I didn't get it, Abbas. If you explain it more. Main factor. And 17% of all the export activities. Actually, they also can make some exporting to do. Do you remember what export is, right? Export is selling something outside of Turkey, outside of the international, to the international markets if they are selling exports. So it's very important for development of the economy. And they also constitute almost 30% of all investments in Turkey. Okay. This is 2016 numbers, but I want to show you how many enterprises exist in Turkey. So micro and small enterprises is up to 3 million number, right, in Turkey. So and how many people they employed? Actually, they employed 8.3 million people, small and micro enterprise, and medium-sized enterprises. They are around 26,000 people, and they employed almost 2.7 million people. In a total, as you see, large corporations in Turkey, large firms in Turkey, employ almost 4 million people, right? And when you compare them, SMEs are giving more than 11 million jobs, while large companies giving only 4 million jobs. It's almost maybe triple, right? So this is why they are very important in our economy, right? We need more SMEs. We need more enterprises, small enterprises, to, as I say, to make all people wealthier, right? Not only some small companies. As you can see here, only 5,000 large companies. So the profit goes only to the shareholders of these large companies, right? They are sharing this, and the rest are the employees. But when you see these micro and small companies, generally the owners get the money, and there are so many people here. I mean, so many people here, so they can earn more, they can get wealthier, right? So this is why SMEs are important. Okay, this is cost gap. It is the government institution who supports SMEs in Turkey. Actually, if you want to be an entrepreneur in the future, if you want to open up your own company in the future, COSGAP is providing supports for COBIs, supports for SMEs. What kind of supports? For example, while you are opening up your businesses, they give you some amount of money and they don't want it back. And they give you free credits. I mean, they give you some amount of credit, you don't pay any interest for that credit. Or you have a project, you have a research and development project, you have an innovative idea that you want to realize. That COSGAP is supporting these kind of things. And the general policy here is creating more powerful SMEs for Turkey, because when you create a good environment for them, when you create good opportunities for SMEs to grow up, actually they will add the Turkey's economy's development very positively. They react, right? So don't forget COSGAP if you want to open up your businesses. Jihad asked something. Do they get shares? No, they don't get shares. They give their support without any paybacks, right? I mean, of course, if you take a credit, you pay back, but they have some support. They don't take their money back. Ali, why they are doing this? Because government needed to give some support because government cannot create every employment, right? We live in a free market economy. So when government support goes to these SMEs are producing. These SMEs are giving employment to the people. These SMEs are exporting. They are producing. And at the first glance, when governments give some money and don't take it back, it seems like that it's a waste. But it's not a waste. It's kind of a long-term investment, because when these SMEs grow, they will provide more economic contributions to the society and also to the government. They are paying taxes, they are giving employment, they are exporting, right? And this is why it's a policy. I mean, many European countries and also United States, they also give these kind of supports because SMEs are very important. Okay. Okay. Let's see what happens in. Yes. Sorry. Firstly, what kind of supports exist in cost cap? Financial assistance, as I mentioned to you, they give some credits and they give some money without refunding. They also give some training. It's also important. For example, when you go to open up a company, let's say you are producing something, some desk, some chair. I mean, you are producing some furniture, okay? And you don't know anything about accounting, for example. You don't know anything about law, right? You don't know anything about corporate law, firms law, what you need to do. They also give kind of training as well. They also give some entrepreneurship training programs as well. For example, how to write a business plan. They provide free trainings to the people who want to open up their businesses. If you want someday to open up a business, please consider cost cap. Please also talk to me. We are also assisting our students on this kind of entrepreneurial activity. Maybe you heard about our research center, RECMER. We are providing entrepreneurship education, entrepreneurship training programs. And if you think a career on entrepreneurship, please also contact me. Okay. What else? And loan programs, as I mentioned, credits they're giving. This is SBA. This is United States version of our cost cap. Okay. They are also supporting their small and medium-sized enterprises in United States of America. And they say that, for example, 80% of all US firms have annual sales less than $1 million. So yes, some companies actually making billions of dollars, right? But majority of the people who start their businesses actually make their living out of it. If they have a good environment, they can continue their operations, they can make their earnings, and they can provide additional employment. This is a very good thing for governments, and governments have a policy to support these small and medium-sized enterprises. They are independently owned and operated, these small businesses. Their share structure is not complicated, right? For example, when you look at Koç Holding's share structure, there are many shareholders, including banks, including foreign investors, including Borsa Istanbul, right? There are so many different actors here and very complicated. But small businesses are generally independent, owned by one or two people, right? They own the business. And they are not dominant in their field. I mean, they don't have market penetration. They don't have controlling all the market. They open up a business and they just sell their products on that neighborhood. And to the small annual sales. SBA, yes, your friend answered you, Faisal. I explained it. Small Business Administration. It is the cost cap of USA, okay? The government institution who gives support to the development of small and medium-sized enterprises. And in America also, if they are, it's different, their description of SME is somehow different. If the employees are fewer than 500 employees, they consider this company as a small company, okay? There are two types of small businesses. These types of small businesses is two lifestyle businesses and high growth ventures. What is the difference between that? A lifestyle business is an individual or a family. They control almost all the shares of the small business, and they start this and they continue their lives forever, for their lifetime. Okay, they open up a market, they operate this at the end of their lives. I mean, it's their lifestyle. They like craftsmen, right, who earn their earnings with a profession, right? These kind of people actually can be named as lifestyle businesses. However, high growth ventures, they are actually new enterprises. They are small simply because they are new, and they aim to grow very bigger. I mean, for example, a restaurant maybe don't think that, a restaurant owner don't think that opening up new franchises, going global, I mean, having 100 or more stores in America, right? They don't maybe think that. They only think that, okay, if I earn my money and if I make my living out of this, it's okay for me. This kind of a understanding, we call it lifestyle. However, if you open up a restaurant and you want to go all over of the Turkey, for example, maybe you see Ekrem Coşkun Döner, right? They opened maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but they are not small, right? When they maybe first opened their stores, they were small. However, now they have more than 200 stores, restaurants in all over the Turkey. So we call them high growth ventures. I mean, when they start their business, their aim is to go bigger, okay? And they also want to have some investment, attract some investment from outside. For example, a lifestyle business, don't think that I am looking for a partner who give me some money and I can sell my shares to them, right? But high growth ventures generally aims to make their company bigger and sell their shares to make money out of this. Maybe Silicon Valley in USA is a good example of it. There are many small ventures there, but they are not lifestyle businesses. They actually aim for producing something, finding something innovative, and then make it bigger with a huge growth potential and sell it. Okay, maybe you all know that Facebook started like that, right? In a garage. They have stories like that. Mark Zuckerberg started their business in a garage with some computer, with a computer, right? When he first initiated the business, he has a small business, but he had a high growth potential, high growth venture, and then he go global. He attracted some investors. They invest a lot, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar company. So this is the main difference between these two. I mean, every business, most of the business, let's say, start with small steps, right? But some of the businesses have an aim to go bigger, go global, want to be a billionaire maybe, right? But some of the businesses are not like that. Some of that are just thinking that, okay, if I'm making my money out of this, it's okay for me, and in my whole life, I can do that business. Lifestyle business and high growth business. Yes, what kind of characteristics small businesses have? Generally, they provide fewer products or services, right? Because they have a focus on a narrow group of customers. They don't, for example, a cafe in Bahçelievler don't aim to sell their products to the customers of Istanbul, right? I mean, they are in Ankara, in a city, in a neighborhood. They only focus on the students there, people there who want to go to take a coffee from them. So they are in close contact with their markets. I mean, tend to be more open-minded. Since they are small, they are open to the new changes, right? They can adapt themselves more easily. For example, if you are having a cafe, right, and you are operating, let's say you opened up your cafe 20 years ago, and at these times, people are drinking more Turkish teas, right? These American coffees, cappuccinos, lattes were not that famous and were not that common in these days. However, by the time you see that the tendency is changing, right? People are more coming to the cafes to drink some different sets of coffees like cappuccinos, lattes, americanos, and different brands, different kind of blends, right? So they adapt their business model to that. I mean, they bring something new, introduce to their customers. Okay, I bring that thing and you should taste it, you should try this. They are open to new changes more because they can adapt to that. They are more elastic, they are more flexible. Tend to be open-minded is that, I mean, to be open to the new innovations in the sector. Because they are in that sector, they see the developments in that sector, they can adapt themselves more quickly. Okay. Because big companies sometimes cannot change their operations very easily. Think about that you are a mining company, you are mining, okay? And you have invested in huge millions of dollars for your new machines, and there's a technological change, but you cannot adapt that change so easily because it takes millions of additional dollars. So you want to use your additional existing technology for the next 10 years, 20 years more maybe, because it's very hard for you to change yourself. However, if you are a small company, you can change your production line maybe more easily, right? Let's say that you are producing some clothes, and you have your factories, you have some production lines to produce some t-shirts, okay? And after this pandemic, everyone wanted to have some masks, face masks, and you change their production style to the masks from t-shirts. I mean, it's easy for you, right? And you can adapt it very easily. Okay. Willing to try new things. They are the balance and the stability elements of the economic and social system. This is, I actually somehow explained it, but let me tell it again. If an economy is only dominated by big corporations, right? If there were only big corporations, if only they make the money, if only they make the profits, I mean, it's good for the corporations, but it's bad for the society, right? Think about the example of your local your local supermarket, your local small markets like bakkals, right? And their struggle with the supermarkets like BİM, A101. And you hear that many of the small markets, bakkals, are complaining about BİM, complaining about A101, right? Because they cannot compete with them. I mean, then you think that if only BİM and A101 dominate all the market, right? I mean, only their owners can have some shares, can share the profits, right? But if there are small markets everywhere, owned by individuals, right? It means that there are more people that are sharing the same profit, right? So it's a balanced, thing on distribution of the wealth in the society. So not only 1% of rich people control the profits, but maybe 30%, 40% of the people can have an access to the wealth of that economy. This is why the balance and stability of economic and social systems is dependent on SMEs. And government should support these SMEs, should protect these SMEs against these big corporations sometimes, right? And some of the countries are doing that actually. For example, they don't let big corporations to open up businesses in some regions because they say that there are too many local producers here, okay? If you go there, you will kill their businesses and they will be unemployed. If they become unemployed, it leads to some economic and social problems, right? It's very hard to control them. It's very hard to make people happier again. I mean, think about yourselves, guys, right? Do you want to just go to work for someone as an employee or own your businesses? If you go to work for someone, I mean, you have a limited wage, right? Okay, you have a stable income, but it's limited to, let's say, 10,000 Turkish liras. I mean, it's limited for you. I mean, you cannot earn more. You cannot. It gives you a living, but it's a debt. However, if you can start up your own businesses, maybe you can earn much more than that, right? I mean, you want to earn more, maybe. And this is important to have that opportunity for everyone starting up their businesses and contributing to the economical development. They are the main supporters and complementary to the large-scale industry. Yes, this is also important because if you go to siteler, if you go to Ostim, you see many of the companies are producing for large companies, okay? There are big companies like Aselsan, for example, and Aselsan has these suppliers in Ostim, in İvedik. They are producing some parts to them, right? And they are necessary. I mean, if they don't exist, for example, Aselsan maybe not find important product, important supplies. They can adapt to the change and diversification in demand more easily. I gave the example of it. If there's a demand change in the market, they can see it, they can adapt their operations. By using labor intensive and employing less skilled employees, they contribute to the overcome to the unemployment problem. Right? I mean, yes, this is the main point for many government policies. Okay, if there are more SMEs, there are more jobs, and if there are more jobs, it means that governments don't need to look after some people. Okay, they are producing, they are contributing to the economy. They realize more production and product mix with less investment. Yes. So, what is the economic role of them? They provide jobs, they bring out new products and services, they supply the needs of large corporations, they provide specialized goods and services, right? This is their economic role. We mentioned a little bit this, that they tend to be more innovative, they make decisions more faster, their owners are more accessible. I mean, you cannot talk to the owner of the BİM, but you can talk to the owner of your bakkal, right? He is there. He can solve your problems directly. Greater opportunities for employees. Yes, they provide more employment opportunities. Yes, technology gets cheaper. So these factors actually contributing to the expand of small businesses. I mean, why we see more and more small businesses every day? So technology is cheaper and everyone can access that. You can go to cyber parks, techno parks of universities and see that many of the students, the graduate students, the engineers, opening up their own companies, own small businesses. Why? Because they can access the technology and they can produce something more innovative, right? They can try. So small manufacturing plants are able to customize products and deliver. You don't need to build up big factories to produce something. You just maybe one or two devices, two machines, you can produce some customized products. It's very easy, it's accessible. Internet provides you huge opportunity to sell your products, right? Online marketing, e-commerce, firms like Hepsi Burada, Gitti Gidiyor, Amazon.com, right? So you can sell your product, you can access to the customer. Otherwise, maybe you cannot be able to, right? But you can send your product all over the Turkey with one click through internet. So it's actually motivates people to open up their businesses, right? Technology also makes it easier to work at home. It's another thing. So rise in a number of women and minority. Also, SMEs are very important for including women to the labor force, including women to the economic production. As you know, generally in our culture, women generally are expected to stay at home, right? Do not produce, look after domestic jobs, home cleaning, and look after kids. However, we see that also recently, women are supported to produce. Women are supported to open up their businesses, right? They are supported to contribute to the economy. And small businesses are actually very good fit for them as well, contributing more and more women into the economy, right? You see that when you go to a touristic place, especially, you see that the women of a village, they are producing some traditional products and selling it to the tourists, right? So it's also an example of a small micro enterprise, right? They produce in their home, they can sell it to the tourists, and they earn some income. So it's a good thing. I mean, they are creating a value for the economy, right? So this is a important contribution of SMEs as well. I mean, bringing women into the production, bringing women into the contribution to the societal and economic development. Okay. And corporate downsizing and outsourcing. Corporate layoffs are also motivating the newly unemployed to become more entrepreneurial. So this is something like that. Sometimes in the as far as minority means the people from different backgrounds. For example, in United States, there are Chinese minority, there are Hispanic minorities, there are Turkish minority, there are Japanese minority, right? In Turkey, maybe we can talk about Syrian minorities right now living in our country. And this small business is actually, for example, good for Syrian refugees as well. I mean, they're opening up some companies, they're opening up some firms, and they are gaining their own money, right? So that government should not have to look after for them. So minority means a group of people who live in that country from different backgrounds. We call them minority, azınlık in Turkish. So corporate layoffs in times of economic problems, in times of economic depressions, some companies needed to end the employment contracts of some of their workers, right? They fire them because they don't have enough money. So in that cases, what happens, right? For example, you are working as an engineer in a production company, big production company. Let's say you are working in some car manufacturer, right? You are designing its engine, and they fire you. Maybe when they fire you, you think that, okay, I have a knowledge in myself. I mean, I see how things work. I know the market, so I can try my business. I can open up my new firm to produce that same thing, right? So this corporate downsizes may lead to people to force them to open up their own businesses, right? I mean, we can see it actually in our economies as well. When people get unemployed, they feel forced to continue their jobs in different sectors, right? Or in different fields, or they open up their firms, they start up a new company. Yes. Our checkpoints. Beyond the formal definition of a small business, what 4 points can be used to describe all small businesses? Okay, in a nutshell, generally, owner is the manager, okay? So in big corporations, we don't see that. In big corporations, owner are one side, the manager are other side. We will see this. Business operates in one or very few locations. Business typically serves a small market, and business is not dominant in its field. Okay, now we move on the entrepreneur. In a small business and entrepreneur. So they are somehow different. Okay, they entrepreneur unique skills and characteristics. We will see that. What kind of characteristics? Entrepreneur want to control their own destiny, right? They what's that? Entrepreneur means that a person who start up a new business, okay, to we call them entrepreneurs who start up, okay. They prefer excitement. They are high sense, intuitive sense, relate well to others, good relations with others, I mean, learn from their mistakes, driven by ambition, think positively, prefer risk taking over security. Instead of working for someone, you want to have your own business. I mean, it is risky, right? If you are working for someone, you know that at the end of the month you get your salary. But if you open up your own business, it's risky for you, right? Because you may fail, you may lose your money. I mean, you need to be handling these kind of risks. There's a entrepreneur as well. We call it intrapreneur. If you create innovation, okay, from within your organization, we call it an intrapreneur. I mean, for example, you don't need to leave your corporation, leave your firm and start up your own business, but within that firm, maybe you have a new idea, you have a new business model, you have to add something new into your firm. We call you intrapreneur. But entrepreneurs are generally taking the risk and they open up their own business. Okay, this is the main difference. What an entrepreneur needs then? I mean, before opening up their businesses, what an entrepreneur needs? Entrepreneur actually needs a business plan first. Okay, what's a business plan? It's the written description of the business idea. I mean, your idea is here somewhere. Okay, it's not sure yet, but you have something in your mind. When you try to put them into words and write them onto a paper, your idea becomes more mature. Your idea becomes more trustable, and you can compare some weaknesses and strengths of your idea. So we call it a business plan. Okay. What kind of things exist in a business plan? Let's look at that. The business, actually, first of all, description of the business, the marketing, I mean, who will buy your product, competition, who are your rivals, right? Who you'll be competing with, your operating procedures, how will you manage your business, your personnel, how many people do you need for that business, right? Your business insurance, I mean, what kind of a insurance you have, or what kind of alternatives you are planning, right? In terms of some unexpected thing happened, and your financial data. Financial data, by financial data, I mean, you need to clarify that how much money do you need for starting that business before you start that business, okay? So let's say you need some amount of money. Let's say you need 200,000 Turkish liras to open up that business. So how do you get that money, right? I mean, do you have any money you can put on as your own assets, as your own money? You can put that in business, or you will get some loan from a bank, right? Or you will have some additional partners for you who brings the money, but you will have some amount of the share, right? So you also need to give some details on these and other financial details, okay? So what are some strategic alternatives in business plan then? You need to think if you want to start a business, you need to think in alternative ways. I mean, generally people think that their business will be success, right? I mean, if you, for example, want to open up a firm, you think that you will be successful. I mean, no one will go to a business who will fail, right? So generally, there is a mistake done by entrepreneurs being so optimistic about the future, being so positive about the future. I mean, I will produce that cup. Maybe you cannot see it. And I will sell it. And you think that everyone will die to buy your product, right? I mean, you will sell maybe thousands of products each month. However, in reality, it may not be true. There are competition, there are your rivals. Maybe it's very hard to produce that product. There are some problems related to finance, employees, market, economy, environmental factors, right? So you need to go with some alternatives, strategic alternatives. Best way to do that, having at least 3 alternatives. One is a good alternative, a very, very good alternative. I mean, in which scenario you have everything is perfect for you and you will do very good. One, a moderate scenario for you. I mean, everything is not that good, but you can manage to businesses. And one also a bad alternative, bad scenario. what will happen if you cannot reach the sale predictions, right? What will be your strategy then? What will you do? Okay, you need to also think about this. And strategic alternatives actually tells you need to prepare some alternative plans for your production, for your staffing, for your financing, and so on. It's very hard to predict all of the things in the future, right? So an alternative plan is needed for a business to be prepared for the unexpected things. So what kind of business ownership you can have? I mean, you want to, you decided that I don't want to work for someone else, okay? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to open up my own new company. So what kind of alternatives you have? Let's talk about this. You can start from scratch. Start from scratch means you start from zero, okay? You open up a new company, you do your business. It's the one general way. You can buy an existing business. I mean, there's a cafe in the corner of your neighborhood, and the owner of that cafe says that, okay, I want to sell that company, sell this cafe because I want to move to Istanbul. Do you want to buy it? And you go to buy it. You take the ownership of that existing business, and you start your business like that. It's option 2. And option 3, a franchise. Let's talk a little bit about these. Advantages and disadvantages of starting a new business. Advantage is you are controlling your own destiny, right? And ability to reach your full potential, maybe. I mean, you can have unlimited numbers of profits if the things go good. And you may do what you like, what you love. I mean, everyone have a dream job, right? I mean, for example, many of the people say that I want to open up a book cafe, right? A bookstore and a cafe. I mean, I will go there, read my book, talk to my friends, and at the same time I will earn money. So everyone have some dream jobs like that. So it's starting your own business could give you that dream. But there are many disadvantages as well, right? There is an uncertainty about your income, about your sales, about your success. You could be unsuccessful and you could lose lots of amounts of money and time. Let's say you invested hundreds of thousands of Turkish liras and you invested your 3 years of your life, 5 years of your life, but at the end you failed, right? So what will you do? And when you start your own business, you generally work more hours than a regular job. Why? You need to be at present on your job, right? No one will look after your job better than you. So many of the small business owners actually dedicate their lives to their jobs. I mean, if they open up a cafe, restaurant, I mean, every day more than 10 hours, 12 hours, they live in there. So they cannot leave their firms, and they need to hard work. And there could be high levels of stress as well. Very stressful job. I mean, I have many friends who open up their businesses, who make good amounts of money, but their life is very stressful. I mean, sometimes I'm really I feel bad about them because it could be damageful for their health, because they work till the midnight. I mean, they, for example, try to produce their products in time. They have deadlines, and it's a very stressful situation for them. And they can't even leave their jobs for 1 or 2 days. Okay, for example, you ask them to go somewhere, let's go some vacation, let's go some holiday. They say that I'm sorry, I have lots of to do, right? They can't leave it. So these are the disadvantages of starting a new business. So how they can finance their business? I mean, you are an entrepreneur, and how can you find some money? Maybe you have a personal saving in your bank, you can use it. You can borrow some money from your friends and family. You can go to venture capitals. Venture capitals means the investors who buy some of your shares and give you money. I mean, it's not kind of a credit. You don't give the money them back, but let's say they want 50% of your company, okay, and give you 1,000 Turkish liras, 1,100 Turkish liras, let's say. So would you accept this or not, right? It's a venture capital. A bank loan is a credit payment. I mean, you take it from bank and you will pay it afterwards. What's a franchise then? A franchise, we actually mentioned about this in our previous course. Some company franchisor, okay, give you the right to sell his products or his services in behalf of him, okay? So you use it, okay? And there are two types of franchises, product franchise and manufacturing franchise. A product franchise, it gives you the right to sell some trademark goods which are purchased from the franchisor, and you resold them, such as car dealers, right? Or gasoline stations. I mean, if you want to operate a gasoline station, you go deal with OPET, BP, or Shell, right? And they give you all the product, you just sell it, and you have a profit margin there, 5%, 6%, whatever it is, and you just get it. You are responsible from the operation of that gasoline station, and that's it. We call it a product franchise. Or you are selling BMW's cars, right? They are sending their cars to you from Germany, and you are selling it here. You add a profit margin at the top of the price of that product. This is product franchise. And what's a manufacturing franchise? Such as soft drink bottlers gives you the right to produce and manufacture their products. For example, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, they have a factory, I think it's Ankara or in somewhere near Ankara. So they have a factory there. They are producing that product. They don't, for example, buy that product from all the USA. The colas are coming to Turkey and they are selling this. Instead, they are producing here and they are selling it. But they're also paying some royalty to the Coca-Cola global. McDonald's is also an example of it. Starbucks is also an example of it. I'm sorry, business format franchise. Business format franchise means that you copy and paste their business formats, like McDonald's and Starbucks, right? In all of the globe, they apply a similar business format, business model. So you use them. This is what does the initial fee cover? Initial fee means that, Halil Ibrahim, thank you. Sakarya. Yes, Sakarya is the main place. They produce there. Thank you. Initial fee, for example, you want to buy a franchise. It's not for free, right? You want to open up a Starbucks coffee. And they want you, maybe thousands of Turkish liras, hundreds of thousands of Turkish liras, to just let you to open that branch, right? Maybe 500 Turkish liras, 500,000, maybe 1 million Turkish liras. They want it. We call it initial fee. I mean, you give them and you don't take it anything. You just take the permission to operate a Starbucks coffee. How our royalties are calculated? They are different, but generally on a percentage base, the royalties are calculated and paid. For example, if you make sales 1 million Turkish lira in a year, you give the 8% or 10% to the franchisor back. We call them royalties. Are trademarks and names legally protected? Generally, yes. I mean, if you want to, for example, buy a franchise, you need to be careful about this. A trademark is generally protected by the government. For example, you cannot go to somewhere and open up a store and name it as Starbucks, right? It's protected legally. I mean, if you try to do this, they will sue you. They will, you will go to the court and you will pay huge amounts of fines. So this is an important thing as well. Who provides and pays for advertising and promotional materials? It depends, right? For example, in some contracts, franchisor pay for it. In some, franchisee pay for it. You need to also ask this. And who selects the location for businesses? In some businesses, they don't let you even decide where to open the franchise. They have locations and you just go there, operate that, right? In some, you have a store, you own a store and you say that, okay, can I take your franchise? I want to open up your business in here. So this is also. Is your territory exclusive? Means that no other company can open a second store there. Okay, for example, you took the franchise of Apple. You are selling their products, iPhones, iPads, everything, and your contract is exclusive. It says that in Ankara there could not be a second Apple store in your territory. So it's a good thing for you, right? Only you can sell it. But in some cases, there is no such thing, and anyone can open up, take some new franchise from that company as well. Do you have to right of first refusal on additional franchises in nearby locations? I mean, maybe you want to say that if there is some new franchise store open in that neighborhood, you need to first ask me, okay? And I can refuse it, maybe. Do you have to purchase equipment and supplies from franchises? It's also very common. For example, you are making burgers, okay? You take two franchise burgers, but you also will buy from me your meat, your potatoes, your cola, all of them. I will sell it to you, and they also gain a lot from that also. Okay. And how can the franchise be terminated? There is fee. There are some additional money to be paid if you want to terminate this. And can the franchise be assigned to the heirs? I mean, for example, can you move your right of franchise to your children? These are talked in the contracts of franchise, and these could differ from one agreement to another. What kind of advantages and disadvantages franchises have? Advantages, they give you training and support on that business. They give you a brand name. You use that brand name. I mean, for example, you just open up a coffee store and sell your coffees there with your own brand. But if you open with the Starbucks brand, you will sell more, right? I mean, people come for that brand there, so it's more appealing. They give national advertising. For example, Burger King. They give TV advertisements. I mean, you don't pay for them as a franchisee, right? The franchisor, Burger King, global, making these national advertising, and you are actually benefiting from that advertising. They give you some financial assistance. They have proven products which have a potential market, right? I mean, if you open up a Starbucks here, you know that there's some amount of people will come and buy that product. It's proven. But if you open up your own store with your name, like a new brand, maybe people just don't want to buy that product. Why? Why they trust your product, right? And you will have a greater chance for success if you open up a franchise. However, there are some disadvantages because you need to pay some fees, you need to share your profits. There are more standardized operations. You don't have flexibility, many restrictions on purchasing alternative material. You have limited product line and possible market saturation and less freedom in decisions. This is the last slide, I guess. Going out of business reasons. I mean, why business fail? Okay, this is the last thing. Starting up a business is a good thing, whether in the form of franchise or your own business or taking up or another business, continuing that. However, sometimes many of the businesses actually in reality fails, right? They bankrupt. Why? One of the reasons is management incompetence. They don't know how to manage this. So it makes our job more crucial, right? This faculty's job is very crucial for that. I mean, in the future, you will go work for someone or you will open up your own businesses. So you need to be competent with managerial skills and you need to know that what is good, what is right, what is wrong, right? If you know that, you will have a less probability of failing. If you don't know that, you will have a huge probability of failing. Management incompetence. Maybe you have a experience lackness, right? You don't know anything, you go into that job, but industry will not let you to do that. Maybe you don't have enough finance. Maybe you poorly planned your business, right? You think that your sales will be 1 million, but your sales just occurred 100,000 Turkish liras. And you had unrealistic goals. You were very optimistic, right? Many of the times it occurs like that. And you fail to attract and keep target customers. Target customer is very important. I mean, there is a customer, you know a customer is, right? Who buy your products. But what is a target customer? It's the very important issue. You will see it in your marketing courses in the future in detail. But very shortly, a target customer is the main customer group that you focus, okay? For example, if you are selling some product which is specific to the woman, okay? Specific with a specific age. I mean, your target customer is, let's say, woman whose age is between 20 and 30, let's say. Okay, this is your target customer. Or if you are selling something for children, right? Your target customer is their parents, right? Because generally parents decide what to buy for the children, right? So you need to know that who is your target customer, okay? If you are targeting students, for example, and if you apply a wrong pricing strategy, I mean, you open up a cafe, but your prices is too high, and you are operating in a students region, so students may not come to you because of your high prices, right? This could be one mistake that you make. So this is important to target your customers, who you are focusing, who do you want to attract, and focus on your business plan. Uncontrolled growth. Sometimes you have a very good idea, okay, and it's really very good. You sell very good, but your growth is uncontrolled. I mean, it becomes bigger and bigger, and you don't know how to manage that amount of people, that amount of production. Maybe you open up your company in a bad location, and maybe your financial control is very bad. You don't know how to manage your money. And most of the actually entrepreneurs face this problem. They don't know anything about accounting. They don't even distinguish between their own money with the company's money, right? So if you start your own business, for example, you invest some amount of money, and there is a working capital here that is needed to be in that business. I mean, it's the firm's money. But if you use that money as it's your own money, right? You have very big problems, and many of the companies face these kind of problems because they don't have any knowledge about financing, okay? And also inability to make the entrepreneurial transition. Transition means change in your business. You need to respond to environmental changes. You need to fit to the environmental changes as times go. If you miss that, you will be okay. This is the end of our presentation today. Do you have any questions?